Hi, I'm Emma, and still having microphone problems. And I'm going to read from the first chapter of my book, Branded. So hopefully you will all be entertained. I was 15. It was a small battle defending a town, which I don't even remember the name of. Since I was 10, my royal father had encouraged me to train in archery so I could fight to defend Tarlin from the ruthless rebels we have battled for hundreds of years. All three of my brothers were there under my mother's request, whose constant worry and hesitation toward letting me go into my first battle was annoying all of us. I get to be like my royal father, Justice, Garcelle, and Adan, my three brothers who have been fighting in the war since they were teenagers, I thought. My sword strapped to my side and my quiver over my shoulder, I was with the archers and had to stay there under direct orders of my mother.
If there are any more safety precautions in this ordeal, we might as well not even call it a battle at all, complained Garcelle.
Mother would just get a funny look on her face and bite her lip. Regardless, I was still there, on the battlefield, watching the rebels come over the hill as I readied an arrow to the string. They looked vile, like a dirty horde of animals charging at us in a chaotic frenzy. Some were not even dressed. Some were covered in armor from head to toe. All moved like slinking Urfanes, ashamed to be seen in the light of day. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for the creatures. How, in the name of Elar, has the rebel army survived this many years, I wondered. There must be thousands of them if this sorry lot is an example of their military. But then they struck. I watched amazed to see our orderly lines fall back, but only for a moment, until Garcelle led a cavalry charge and took the head of one of the leaders, throwing it into the crowd of degenerates. I was not scared. I was proud of my brother who feared nothing and could change the tone of a battle in an instant. I killed several of the swine from my place with the archers, but I was getting bored. I longed for the rebel ranks to get closer to me so I could give them a taste of my steel. Adan glanced back at me from his place with the infantry and winked at me. I knew it was my moment. Jumping away from the archers, I spied a dead horse to give me leverage to see the enemy better. Scared and excited, but more excited than scared, I climbed on top of the dead horse so I could see the wild faces of our enemy. With quick, precise hits, I took down 3 swordsmen with my arrows. I saw a soldier nearing the horse of my eldest brother, Justice, who was fighting about 20 feet from me where the battle was thicker. I took my aim as I knew so well to do, and my enemy spied me. His eyes widened to huge white dinner plates. "Mercy!" he cried. I froze. People talk about freezing in battle, but I was of royal blood. Nothing should make me lose my cool in the middle of a fight. I stared at the soldier. He looked young. His wild eyes changed in my mind from savage to lost. What is happening to me? He approached me, and I fought to shoot the arrow from my bow, but it wouldn't go. No matter what I did, as if some power beyond my knowledge was keeping the arrow from being released. A spell. I was under a spell. My eyes widened in terror. "Justice!" I shrieked. Garcelle, from his place leading the charge, saw me, frozen in my. He turned his horse around, leaving a trail of pursuing arrows behind him. With his huge sword, he smashed the skull of the boy who called my name and then grabbed me by my shoulder and carried me away from the battle.
"What is wrong with you?"
he bellowed at me, sweat pouring down his face. Tears welled up in my eyes. "It wasn't my fault," I cried. "Something happened to me. I couldn't move. A spell or something." He rolled his eyes. He called my name. Back at the palace in Whitestone, Garcelle told the story of my humiliation on the battlefield, red in the face with anger. I felt silly trying to explain that I must have been under some sort of spell. "You can't see the enemy as people. That's what you did, Mercy," said Adan. "It makes sense. If he called your name, you would see him differently." Blushing, I remember that I did start seeing that brute differently.
"It can happen to anyone on their first battle," said the king. "We will try again. Next time, don't be so ambitious.
I nodded, breathing a sigh of relief. No. The queen stood up from her throne beside the king. You say you felt you were under a spell. Yes, but that's just how it felt. I'm sure Adan's right. You might have been. Everyone in the throne room stared at her. Before you were born, I prayed to Elar to make you special, she bit her lip. Merciful and good. You did this to me! I cried, my face turning red, now from anger. It would seem, she said, hesitating, that Elar gave you the power of mercy even in battle. You fiend! I shrieked. Now I'm handicapped from ever fighting in a battle again. Did you ever stop to think what I wanted? We all know you have stupid ideas about the war, but why did you have to project them onto me? I hate you! From that day on, my life was ruined. I would watch my brothers and father go off and fight against the rebels, and I was stuck at home with nothing to do but embroidery and knitting. Justice stopped going into battle as much and stayed home to govern, trying to teach me how to judge cases like he would. But all I wanted to do was fight. Father barely spoke to me now, and I blamed Mother. She made me like this. The worst part of it all was I could still remember the look in that boy's eyes and remember how Garcelle had smashed his skull when he came to save me. My family became separated. Justice was close to Mother and would try to be close to me. Garcelle was close to Father, and Adan followed Garcelle around. I rarely spoke to anyone but Justice now. I felt separated, like a freak with no means of redeeming myself. All that mattered in my family was the war, fighting it and ending it, having glory stories told about us. Now all hope of that was lost for me, and it was all my royal mother's fault. That was the end of my story as anybody interesting ever. Thank you.